How's it going, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Crypto Clout. Today we are going to be talking about DigiByte. A lot of really exciting things to talk about involving this cryptocurrency. I think that it's really relevant to bring up DigiByte right now. What with the conversation around blockchain that everybody's having, and of course, I think that we need to talk about assets and the future of assets, and the tokenization of not only the stock market but the tokenization of assets in and of themselves. And how DigiByte really could position themselves and really have a big role to play in the tokenization of these very integral pieces of stores of value that are definitely going to be making a huge impact on how the public responds to cryptocurrency as mass adoption and early adoption are realistically unfolding right before our eyes, and all these different things are of course happening under the microscope of the regulations, which is of course a slow crawl, but as you guys know, when things get going, they tend to have a tendency to really get going fast. So today, definitely an interesting space to be paying attention to. The market cap, nothing really too exciting happening there, nothing new, just a few billion knocked off the market cap as per usual. But of course, if you're a long-term believer in the technology, sure that you're unfazed by this, or whether you're a seasoned trader or not, it's definitely important to always be prepared. You never know what's going to happen in crypto, and it's always interesting, in particular with the current climate that we're seeing with the market right now. DigiByte, though, is certainly a crypto that's a good pick for me, at least. In my opinion, I'm pretty interested in seeing what DigiByte's going to be bringing forward to us, in terms of their development, leading the way in the cryptocurrency space. But all of that and more we're going to be talking about in this video. Now, I'm waiting to see. Essentially, that's my opinion right now, is wait and see. I'm paying close attention to the support right now, and I think that it's pretty easy to tell. I mean, what with how we were seeing earlier in the week, and there's a pretty interesting movement happening right now. I mean, we're going to be getting into this, talking about the price action with DigiByte a little later in the video, but it is definitely something to keep an eye on right now. And of course, DigiByte recently celebrated its 5-year anniversary, which is really impressive for a cryptocurrency to be around for 5 years. That when you take into consideration how new the space is in general, when we want to talk about how something like Ethereum came from the various frustrations and issues that people wanted to expand upon, the original Bitcoin model essentially gave us a new development in technology. So when we want to talk about moving forward, the various different visions of cryptocurrencies that posit a fundamental building block on top of what Bitcoin comes to offer, definitely something like Cardano comes to mind. But at the same time, I think people overlook DigiByte at certain times. Of course, the DigiByte community is pretty well versed in what DigiByte has to offer. But when we talk about, I mean, obviously the overall cryptocurrency space is pretty much split right down the middle. What with Bitcoin being a household name as it is, definitely does take up a lot of the clout, which ultimately makes Bitcoin like the normie cryptocurrency for the most part, lack of a better term. Regular people who aren't necessarily acquainted with blockchain and all these things tend to gravitate towards the more well-known cryptos, which is also a big hurdle that DigiByte needs to overcome, which they're trying to work on coming to terms with of course the DigiByte awareness and all these different aspects of the integral variables at hand. And of course, what with DigiByte now being lower than a penny, I mean, it of course does require meeting that sort of resistance level. What with the various different struggles, I mean, that come with being crypto that's under a penny. But I mean, we've seen DigiByte come back from worse than this, and personally, I think that DigiByte's still a little overpriced for me to be accumulating more. I mean, I accumulated all my DigiByte years ago, and my bags are pretty much filled, and it would pretty pretty much take seeing DigiByte going down a couple more levels, probably down to about, a fifth of a penny would be something that I would be interested in accumulating more. Whether or not we'll ever see DigiByte that cheap again is definitely something up for debate. But of course, I've been saying this for quite some time now, that I'm expecting to see things get worse before they get better in the cryptocurrency space. In particular with the market cap has been steadily taking hits left and right. A lot of different things happening, involving a lot of these different I don't want to say manipulation, because I don't like to just throw that around. It's something that but I'm pretty sure anybody who's been paying attention to the cryptocurrency space certainly knows and can smell the manipulation in the air. And there's certainly a lot more manipulation. 2018 and 2019 has been rife with aspects of and signs of manipulation that really can't be ignored. So Satoshi's vision, not a new Visa, but an alternative to banks, says Dan Held. This is an interesting article. Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto wanted to be an alternative to banks, not a new Visa. Cryptocurrency veteran and former blockchain executive Dan, Bitcoin creator, basically what this article talks about is how Satoshi's vision, basically like putting the old cryptocurrency philosophy, for anybody who wants to have a bit of a history lesson. We of course did have cryptocurrency rising up to be the thing that would overthrow the old paradigm, but it's almost funny to see how cryptocurrency is coming in handy to save the Wall Street and all these different things, as we've been this obviously all ties into a recent a lot of volatility in the stock market, which and of course investors have a new biggest worry about the stock market, all these various different financial concerns that people might have. It's definitely interesting to see, because when people tend to panic in the stock market and with all these different things, cryptocurrency, it's almost like a big bold-faced advertisement for the cryptocurrency space. And I think that this is something that brings attention to all cryptocurrencies. Now we're sort of in a generation, I think, with cryptocurrency as it is, where people are more interested in what a technology is actually planning on doing, and how they're planning on interacting within the real world, rather than more or less what we were seeing with like 2017, that when cryptocurrency was sort of in its dream period, where people were more or less just interested in cryptos as an investment. But I think DigiByte's it's basically positioning itself where it stands to benefit from securities and all these different things, which is also something that will play a long way into coming into DigiByte's favor. And I think that the DigiByte community is well aware that DigiByte's a sleeping giant in that respect. And it's also interesting to see DigiByte getting attention with early adoption. And early adoption is definitely something that I want to bring up as well, because we are so early in the cryptocurrency space. So the fact that DigiByte's managed to spread itself all around the world, and has a functioning team, all these different things that we've talked about already, it's definitely something that's on my radar, at least for how we can expect to see DigiByte and the blockchain and all these different things as they've been developing, and what they plan to bring forward and make readily available. So of course, at these different price levels, it is interesting to say the least, to see DigiByte at this sort of price level. It's pretty much business as usual, though. Things have generally been moving sideways in the cryptocurrency space, but of course I do expect to see more or less a lot of the useless altcoins. I don't expect to make it through the storm, but then again, I'm pretty sure that DigiByte has the guts, just because it's been around for so long, it has such a reputation within the space, great community, all these different things, but it is something to have on your radar as well. What we've been expecting to see as far far as the natural evolution of where Bitcoin is going to take us, and all these different things. So of course, some interesting news headlines. Acquisition underlines the fact we're not standing still. We await regulatory approval by CFTC, and for launch for regulating trade in crypto markets. I mean, things are taking off every single day. I don't think anybody would argue cryptocurrency is on a lot of people's radar. And all this information is public information. I mean, I think people are pretty ready for blockchain to have its place in the world, and I think DigiByte's certainly ready to position themselves in a way to definitely really leverage the mass adoption, which whether it takes a year or longer, I mean, it's definitely something that's coming up on the horizon nonetheless. But remember, all that being said, this video is for entertainment, educational purposes only. Obviously, I'm not your dad. This video is not advice or anything like that. But if you guys want, definitely reach out to us on Twitter. That's at CryptoTuber. And yeah, all that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. And my opinion on DigiByte, I'm remaining fairly bullish on where this technology. I'm standing by it. I mean, obviously, not everybody was fortunate enough to get in while it was so cheap. But then again, I think DigiByte's position in number 41 is well deserved. But I think that there is a lot of potential for them to move up higher. But that's just my opinion. And all that being said, you guys, I think that's good for this video. I think this has been a pretty important video for us to make. A lot of important things to talk about. But yeah, all that being said, you guys, stay relevant, and I'll see you guys next video. Have a good one.